Welcome to the Period Besties Podcast with Stasha and Katie. Think about it as chatting with your best friends about all the TMI stuff you've never talked about before with two period coaches who've been helping hormones collectively for over 20 years now. I'm Stasha.
And I'm Katie, and we're pulling back the curtain on what it's like in the world of menstrual coaching. From puberty to menopause and everything in between, we're here to show you how period coaching can save the day. We'll share practical tips and information you can put to immediate use to improve your hormones and happiness.
We're removing the mystery, ending the taboo, and shining a light on just how powerful period coaching can be.
So whether you need period coaching or are considering becoming a period coach yourself, these episodes are going to help you. We'll share stories, coach live on air, and bring smart, savvy guests to share their wisdom too. Let's start today's episode.
Welcome to the Period Besties Podcast. Today, Katie and I have the pleasure of bringing one of our old menstruati friends back from our LA days on. We thought we'd kick off here with some fun, lighthearted, or maybe some looking back, we can laugh now stories of the taboo. Of course, we all grew up in a time where the taboo made it hard to have those conversations. So you internalized a lot of shame and those kinds of things. And we'd like to break that taboo. We'd like to end that so that you can walk away feeling, oh gosh, this happens to everybody. And I'm not all alone and I'm not isolated. And there's no reason for me to be ashamed or embarrassed or that kind of thing. So we just like to have a nice lighthearted summer, have some fun stories, break up the taboo a little bit, just casual menstruati things. So welcome, Courtney. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you kick us off and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I'm a holistic health coach. I've been in this field for about, a little over a decade now, 12 years. And really passionate about women's health and getting women back to nature. Really passionate about reconnecting to the mountains and the ocean and the forest to rebalance ourselves. What else about me? I love to dance. I salsa and two-step. That's a way that I get in my body and really feel alive. And yeah, I live in Austin, Texas. I'm originally an East Coaster from New England. And yeah, a little bit about me.
Hey, we're so excited. So we're going to just talk about periods in general. So Stash and I have shared some of our stories along the way in our podcast journey. So before we hit record, you were sharing a little bit about what your family and what happens every time you go on vacation. So let's start there since it's the summer and this is a lighthearted summer chat.
Yeah. Literally, so I live in Austin. My family lives in New England, and one of my brothers is in California in Lake Tahoe, and the other one's in Delaware. And we try to see each other 1 or 2 times a year. And literally every time, even if my mom comes to visit me in Texas or whatever, every time I have my period or I'm about to get my period. And it's become kind of this joke of I'm really on edge. And you know that line of you're on edge and you're I just want to bleed already. I just want this fresh lights to come on body and release so I can feel normal again. Happens every time. It's usually on my travel day that part's happening and I have no patience. And then I see my family and my mom's, are you okay? You feel a little off. And I'm yeah, I got my period. She's every time. It's every single time. It was my brother's wedding, had my period, went home for Christmas, had my period. My dad had open heart surgery, went home, had my period. I was just this is crazy. And it just, yeah, every single time. And then my brothers are they know I'm in this work, obviously, but they're I'm so sick of hearing about your period. Can you stop? And I'm when you ask how I'm doing, that's exactly what's happening. I'm bleeding without dying. Come on now. Obviously, I'm going to feel a little off right now.
Have some respect, man.
I know. I'm you guys should actually take some of my classes so you know what's going on. But
I had, when I was doing a lot of live events, I was at this event with a guy who's a body worker, and he does essentially the lead person on stage. He's there for a 3-day conference to do the body work and make the smoothies and all that kind of stuff. And I was talking to him about it, and he was every single woman gets her period during the event. every time, no matter what we do. It's every single time they get their period during the event. And I get the first time we did it, I got my period. It was the day before was day 1. I got my period on day 2. And then day 3 of the event was my day 2 of my period. And I was like, looks like you were right.
Oh my God. Literally every big thing. Like I was at a Tony Robbins event, Unleash the Power Within. First day, we're jumping around. It's a 16-hour day. I walked on fire, got my period. Like, I was just like, and then you have to keep going at that level for those events for the next 3 days. And you're like, oh my God, I just want to sleep right now. So
That's like my friends. I feel like half of my friends that got married got their period the day of their wedding. Like they woke up that morning, got their period, even if they just had it like 2 weeks before.
really?
Yes.
Is it all the stress, you think? What do you
I would
what's
think
happening here?
so. All that stress, anticipation, you're going to be in front of all these people. Yeah.
Yep. Right now I am scheduled to get my period on September 4th. The wedding is September 13th. We'll see what happens.
Oh my gosh. I know. I'm literally planning a big trip to Sweden and I'm like, I got my period I'm actually on my period right now. I got it 4 days early and I was like, thank God I'm not going to have it at my birthday. So I'm like hoping that's actually true. But we'll see.
Yeah, you'll have to keep us posted. I feel like I'm going back to New York next week for this huge work event. And I'm supposed to get my period on Wednesday, the day before this like huge all day event. And I'm like, let's just be late this month, okay?
And it's even wild because we all track it. And I'm like, oh, it's going to come on Friday. I'm planning things around like dates or whatever. And then it comes 4 days early out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
got it. Okay, thanks. Don't know why I do this.
Yeah, I'm firmly in that perimenopause place where it's like I had a 16-day cycle and then I had a 33-day cycle. So who knows? I'll just track ovulation and hope for the best.
Yeah. Seriously.
Well, I'm going to just start like sending you good energy so that you, of all people, do not have your period on your wedding because I know how you feel on your period.
Yeah, I'm already stocking up on turmeric and ginger and ibuprofen.
Yeah. And like we'll just all stand around your bed with heating pads if that comes to it. Like everyone will be on call.
Yeah.
Have to trade. We'll have assigned slots of who has to make the ginger tea when.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I know it's so interesting though. I'm trying to think back on vacations. I just remember like fighting with boyfriends and always having these fights that weren't really fights and then getting my period the next day before I was really tracking like I do now, like in my early 20s and just being like, why am I so annoyed and agitated and crying and all these things? And then the next day I'd be like, oops, period.
Yeah. I feel like there's definitely moments where I was dating this guy for a couple months and now I'm not anymore. But there was moments where I was like, I'd get so worked up about the littlest thing and blow it up. And then I'd be like, oh shit, sorry. And the thing is, I'm tracking. Like I know when it's coming, but sometimes you just aren't like fully aware that it's going to happen like the next day. Like you think it's going to be in a couple days and yeah, start like a blow up fight and then be like, I'm so sorry. That actually wasn't me. It's my period talking. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I will try hard to be like, look, babe, this next couple of days, not the day. Just keep your head down and get to the pain. Like, I might be okay, I might not. But then he's always the first one. He'll be like, you seem a little irritated. Have you smoked some weed yet today? Maybe it's time to go like outside, sit on the deck, have a cup of tea, a toke, relax a little bit. I'll take the dogs for a hike. You just relax.
Oh.
My husband's like, why are you being mean to me? I'm like, I'm not, just leave me alone.
I wouldn't have to be mean to you if you weren't in my face right now.
Oh
And
my
he's like asking me what I want to eat for dinner.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Make a decision. You can do
Yeah.
it. You're a full grown adult.
Something with carbs and cheese. I don't
No.
know.
Just don't breathe on me.
Chris
Yeah.
loves it because it's his chance to eat all the junk food. Because I'm like, yeah, pizza sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so curious. Any first period stories?
Oh my gosh. I remember the first, so I got my period late. I got it at, or not late, but later than normal. I was 16. And I remember I was with one of my close friends, Candace, and we were going to my crush's house. His name was Anthony. And she's, oh, Anthony invited us over. Let's go hang out. And I remember going to the bathroom and just seeing blood. And I was like, Candace, I think I just got my period. And my mom was a health teacher, so I wasn't like in the total dark about this process. But she like kept handing me tampons and I didn't know what to do with them. She's like, yeah, just put it up there and push the thing. And I was like, this is really scary to put a foreign thing in your body for the first time. And I feel like I kept messing it up and it like wasn't coming out. And then I was getting so nervous because I was getting ready to go see my crush. And I'm like, I don't know how to handle that I am having this concern right now and just go act like I'm normal at this point. So finally got a tampon in, I think. I don't remember. I kind of blocked it out, I think. And then we went over to his house and I was so nervous because I was like, Candace, like, how do I know if it's full? Like, how do I know when I'm supposed to change it? I had all of these, I don't know what to do. And should I just act normal? Do I say something? Like, do I tell them? Like, I wasn't sure how to act. So it was just like a very weird first time to be like going to see the guy you have a crush on and all through high school and bleeding for the first time and not sure what to do. So I don't remember like after that, like I think it was fine. Like I just went to go hang out, but it was weird though. I think I came home and my mom's like, did you get your period? And I was like, how do you know that? And she was like, I could just feel something change. And I was like, oh, okay. It was very interesting.
Wow, that's so intuitive.
Yeah.
I did not have that with my mom at all. I was just like, do not tell dad. I never want to talk about this again. Obviously, she told my dad. Like, now that I'm a parent, I'm like, yeah, you tell your partner everything.
I think it was because my mom was a health and wellness teacher my whole life. So it's like she was teaching about periods and sex and STDs and all this stuff. She was like, oh, okay, now you're a woman now. But it was like this like little thing. And then life just kept going on. And
It is a weird process in our culture, I will at least, because it is. You get your period, but then you just keep on going with the day. It's this huge momentous event happens that you're completely unprepared for. At least generation was completely unprepared for. Even if we had some information, it was still like you're alone in that bathroom that time.
And I remember like being a little girl and not to put my mom on blast. I don't think she'll ever hear this, but she would bleed through the sheets. So I was nervous. I was like, am I going to have this really wild cycle? Because I just remember my mom like always bleeding through the sheets. There was like, and so it made me a little nervous. I never had that issue, thankfully, but yeah.
Me either. I do remember not getting my period. I was also late in the scheme of things, right? Because getting your period is less about age and more about size, weight, that kind of thing.
Mm.
And I definitely was one of the later people, and I was on the varsity swim team, which was mostly older girls and a handful of us freshmen and sophomores. And I do remember everyone like had their period and I felt weird. And so I went into the bathroom like fully expecting to get my period and nothing had happened. And I was just like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I was the first of all my friends because I'm a year older grade. Like I'm the oldest in like the grade. So I turned 16 my freshman year of high school. Which was fun when I was in college because I turned 21 my sophomore year in college. But I just remember like nobody had their period. It was the summer before I started sixth grade. And I was just like, had no one to talk to about it because nobody that I knew, or maybe they did, but nobody like talked about it. And then I remember one of my best friends got her period right before, I think it was eighth grade. But by then we had all been talking about it. Like she was the last one to get her period. So it's just interesting.
Were you like the friend group period guru since you got yours first?
No, I feel no one talked about it except, oh, I got it. I haven't gotten it yet type of thing. But it wasn't like in depth, which I wish I had been more comfortable because then I would have been like, wait, so you're not wearing the big pads? What do you like? Let me tell my mom what to buy because I refuse to come to school because I literally would not go to school and I had my period anymore because my mom wouldn't let me wear a tampon. And the pads were like so big. You first get your period, you don't get it every month anyways. So it wasn't like I was regular, but thank God by the time I got to junior high, we had solved that big pad issue.
Oh my gosh.
I was just like, there's no way people didn't know. Like I couldn't even walk. Like those
Right.
things were massive.
Yeah, I remember those too.
Got the back in the day pads.
Oh my God. And they were loud. I still remember walking down the hallway and I'm like, oh my God, trying to go to the bathroom. Yes.
Like those windbreaker pants we had in the 90s too.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That would have been a great disguise. You could have worn the windbreaker pants and been like, it's just my pants, yo.
Oh my God. And like fashion back then too was just so
Gosh.
Baggy pants back then. It wasn't quite the low rise skinny
No.
jean phenomenon. There was at least some of the baggy pants still existed.
So you could cover the pants and the bloating.
Yeah, exactly.
waddle. It
Yeah.
was like after having the boys and not walking because my feet had turned out because I was pregnant and like waddling and not knowing I was. And my physical therapist was like, we've got to get your feet pointed back straight. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know I was waddling. I don't know my hips had turned out that bad. But then I was like, oh my God, this is probably how I walked when I had those big pads in.
Kids today don't know how good they got it on the feminine care
Oh gosh.
period product market.
We had nothing organic. Everything was huge. Yeah, it was not what it is now.
No. And there was no books that I knew of or my mom knew of. And now there's so many resources.
Yeah, definitely no apps to help track or anything.
No phones.
Yeah, no even phones. Yeah, when I first got my period, no one had a phone.
Yeah, no computer in your pocket, no phone in your pocket, just you, the bathroom, and an instruction manual from inside the tampon box.
Seriously. No chat GPT to be like, can you walk me step by step through every part
YouTube
of this
video.
process?
Couldn't go to YouTube and watch tutorial.
I guess do they have tutorials on YouTube?
Oh, I'm sure. Why would
never looked.
everything on YouTube?
Really? How would they? Yeah, I guess.
I just use a model. There's all those, I have a pelvis right behind me, but there's all those like clear pelvic anatomy things because that's where you go if you want to learn how to put a cup in. There's usually channels that just have different folds for different cups and discs and types and these like all the different period products you can use and then how to use them, how to fold them, how to insert them, how to take them out, all that kind of stuff. It would have been nice back in the day had they had YouTube and
right.
but we were still like
Seriously.
AOL chat rooms.
Oh my MySpace.
I don't even think, because I'm so much older, I don't even think we had AOL chat rooms when I got my period. Because it was like 1990. When was I in 6th grade? 1992. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. Because I got my period in 2001,
I'd have been
2002.
somewhere in the middle because I graduated high school in 98. I hadn't turned 18 yet. And I got my period somewhere in high school. I think probably somewhere between sophomore and junior year, I'm guessing. I would have gotten my driver's license my junior year. Yeah. But not that that was recent.
Yeah, you're not like checking in with your friends. What
With dial up.
But I have definitely mentally blocked out my high school period. There's like moments that I can remember of having my period in high school, but I don't remember when I got my first period. And my mom had 4 kids, so she doesn't remember when I did either. Yeah, but somewhere in those 1995-ish time, somewhere in there, give or take, would be my guess. But yeah, I do remember having my period one time in high school. I was having a birthday party in the summer and everyone was at my house swimming and eating and having a great time. And I was in a chair on the deck trying not to die or look like I was dying. I was just trying to like enjoy my birthday, but also all I wanted to do was climb into bed and go to sleep. But I had ice cream cakes. So I was like, at least I got to eat my weight in ice cream.
I don't remember any besides that specific moment the first time. I don't remember any from high school. But college is like where mine shifted and started getting really painful and made me turn into a psychopath before it came. And yeah, I don't know what. Oh, I think it's because I started birth control after that. Like I remember getting my period. I also was sexually active and my mom knew that, intuitively figured that one out too. And then was like, you're going on birth control. So it's like I got my period and like 2 months later I started birth control till I was 20. And that's actually when I remember having like almost the worst periods I've ever had. Yeah. but
Your mom, wow, she's like really tuned in.
she's really tuned into me. Yeah. Like it's actually interesting as we've gotten older. I've been on like this self-development journey and learning a lot about myself and who I am and how I show up in the world, and my patterns and habits, whatever. And it's been since like right before the pandemic that I've been on this journey. And now simultaneously, like my mom's stepping into this self-development, like learning her body journey and like connecting to God and like all these different things that she's been like learning by watching me, which is really wild. And there's moments where I'll tell her, this is what I'm feeling and this is what I'm going through. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going through that exact same thing right now. Like we're really tuned in to each other as like mother and daughter. And she also has a twin sister. And there's like this trifecta because we'll all feel each other's like deep emotional stuff and be like, oh, my mom's, can you help me out with this? And I'm like, oh, it's interesting. I just went through that like last week. And I can help walk you through this process of how I dealt with it or whatever. It's just interesting. Yeah. We're definitely on the same wavelength.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I feel like that's so unique.
Yeah, it is so unique. And then my mom, like I said, I remember her period like being really heavy, but then she got breast cancer when I was getting ready to go off to college. And chemo and radiation forced her into menopause. And she never had hot flashes, nothing. Like it just stopped her. And she's, I had the best menopause ever. And I was like, okay, I don't have babies yet. So I'm hoping that happens soon. And then I have a smooth one too, but we're really tapped into each other.
I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm trying to think of anything else you want to share with us? Any funny, interesting, or horrible?
Not like funny, but this is interesting. Like I was in a long-term relationship I guess this isn't funny, but something for the women here to listen to is I was in a long-term relationship for 7 years. And the first like few years were great. And then the last few years were actually like really toxic. But my body was constantly telling me that this person wasn't good for me. As that situation got worse, like my periods got way worse and like more painful. And like my body was literally rejecting this person. And it's funny looking back because I was like not listening to it. I was just like, oh, my hormones are off, or oh, I'm not sleeping, or oh, I was iron deficient, whatever was happening. And this happened with my last partner too, of like my body literally, I had the worst PMS ever with this person. I feel like it was God's way of telling me like, this isn't for you. That intuition of this really isn't for you, as much as you're like looking at it's good on paper, you're trying to force it. And looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, like I had the worst periods with the most unaligned connections. So something to just, think about. And the other funny thing is I took a vow of celibacy, I think it was like 2 years ago after my last partnership. And then the first guy that I decided to connect with, I got my period the day that we were supposed to share intimacy. And I was just like, oh my God. And then it happened again with the next guy too. And I was like, what is going on? Am I not supposed to be doing this right now? It was really funny. Celibacy to intimacy on your period right away is a little of an edge.
It's so true though. Like your body is sending you such strong messages.
All the time.
You can't ignore that at all. That's
Like-
something you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because I usually I track. I know when my cycle is around when it's going to come. But like this last period, the day I got it, I went to a HIIT workout. I went to a dance party, and then I went two-stepping that night, which is a huge full day to have in your luteal phase. But I didn't even know it was coming this time. It literally just showed up the next day. And I was like, oh, wow. But other times I can have premenstrual issues from a week before and be distraught and distracted and like down and out and crying a lot. And it usually has to do with who's in my immediate environment and how I'm sharing space with them.
Much sense.
Right. And like, I think that's part of this conversation that we don't often talk about is like your body's always talking to you. One of my biggest things with clients is symptoms are signs. You don't numb them with Midol. You don't go on birth control. You don't do all these things. You literally want to be like, what is my body trying to tell me? And in a lot of instances, it was like, this person is not good for you. Stop. Really tuning into that, I think, is so helpful. And that is the hindsight for me. I'm like, oh yeah, this turns out this wasn't good for me. And I was forcing it to be.
Now you'll know when you are really with that right person.
Because it won't be like this chaotic. And still my hormones, like I'm approaching 39. And so my hormones are shifting a little bit. But as a whole, when I'm peace and calm and there's good people around me, I don't have bad periods.
Yeah. I've always thought PMS is telling you something. Like you're not, you may be overreacting to something in the moment, but the fact is that something indicates a misalignment of some sort, right? And obviously PMDD is its own thing, but in
Right.
general, it's just always to me felt like PMS is telling you something's not right in this spot. And sure, maybe you didn't need to react in quite that way, but it's okay. Maybe I should just note these things down so that when I come out of my period, or it's like the jam breaks and you start to feel good again after you get your period, it's a good time to go back and go, okay, what was it about that particular situation that had me so upset? Our initial, like, as women, we're supposed to deal with all of everybody's everything and take it all in stride and be everybody's punching bag and dumping ground and all that kind of stuff. But reality
Right.
is that's not true. So we always come out of PMS and we're like, oh, I just overreacted. I don't know why I flew off the handle at that. But you know what? No, maybe. Okay, maybe you shouldn't have lost your shit and yelled, but
Right.
it's not all, you're not always wrong either. Like we have to
Right.
stop with that mentality of, oh, it's just my fault. It's my bad. It's my hormones. Therefore, it's my problem. And maybe look at maybe there's some issues in this relationship. Maybe they can be worked out. Or maybe this is just not the person for me. But
Yeah, I'm not saying one cycle you're off and you should just get rid of that person. But if it becomes oh, I'm dating this new person and it's a few months and every cycle is like getting worse or it feels really off. I have a class that I rebranded PMS to Powerful Monthly Signals because instead of it being like something you're daunting, I'm like, get curious. Like, really want to be curious about how, because we have less patience. I'll speak for myself only. I have typically less patience and less bandwidth for certain things. But if that continues to happen and there's a blowout every time, yeah, it's partly on me, but it's also, are we having the same fight? Is there something here that we actually need to resolve? And I didn't mention this in my intro, but I actually have studied women's intimacy for the last 5 years too, and communication styles and attachment styles and all these different things, and like bringing these two worlds together because that's an important part of it. It's like understanding your body, but then understanding your body and how it reacts to the world around you and how it's reacting to your partnership. There was one guy in college that I kept getting UTIs with. And I'm like, oh, my body's probably telling me that we're not compatible in this way. So something so important to listen to when you're bridging intimacy with women's health.
that's such a good point. And I think a great spot for us to end this episode. It's super informative. I think we can all walk away with having learned a little something and had a good giggle. And we'd love to hear your stories. So if you have a funny period story or a first period story or something and you'd like to share with us, please email us. The email is in the show notes. We'd love to hear from you, or slide into our Instagram DMs. They're open. And we'd love to hear your stories and chat with you as well. So please let us know. And thanks to everyone for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
A big shout out and thank you to our sponsors for today's episode, Period Coaching School and Katie Bresek Wellness.
Thanks to you, our favorite bestie, for listening to the Period Besties Podcast, where no topic is TMI. And of course, share this episode with your besties.
Remember to leave us a 5-star review, nothing less than the best for us besties, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
You can follow us on Instagram at Stasha Washburn and at Katie Bresak, or email us at periodbestiespodcast@gmail.com.
Check out more about us at katiebresak.com and periodcoachingschool.com. And of course, check the show notes for free goodies and extras that support this episode.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye for now, besties.